Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. Three men have been sentenced for their part in a multi-million-pound cannabis growing operation uncovered during police raids in Leeds.
The neighbourhood policing team and West Yorkshire Police will continue to target organised criminality and relentlessly pursue those who are involved in this kind of activity within Hare Hills and wider.
We'll have the latest from court. Also tonight, raising funds for legal action. A victim of the Rotherham grooming scandal says senior individuals failed to protect children from abuse and should be held accountable. The World Snooker Championships are well underway in Sheffield, but are you a big enough fan to watch every single match?
And join me later on Look North for some gorgeous gardens and brilliant blooms at the Harrogate Spring Flower Show.
Well, for most places, it's been another lovely day. Look at that view across the Peak District. But what about the rest of the week and into the weekend? Join me for that detailed forecast.
Hello, welcome to Wednesday's programme. It's good to have your company tonight. It was an investigation into 75 cannabis farms in Leeds growing drugs with a street value of more than £4.5 million. Today, 3 men have been sentenced. The court heard how the men allowed criminal gangs to use properties owned by innocent landlords in Hare Hills to grow more than 7,000 cannabis plants. It was part of a lengthy investigation by West Yorkshire Police to crack down on serious organised crime. Beth Parsons has tonight's top story.
March last year, the moment police arrested one of 3 men found to be linked to a multi-million-pound cannabis growing operation. It followed months of investigation by West Yorkshire Police as part of a crackdown on organised crime in the Hare Hills area of Leeds. At a hearing at Leeds Crown Court in January, 3 men pleaded guilty to permitting premises to be used for the production of a controlled drug. The men posed as property management companies, securing premises from legitimate landlords and offering to manage them on their behalf. Instead, they allowed criminal gangs to set up large-scale cannabis grows. They were found to be linked to 75 different grows in the city, one of which was on this street in Hare Hills. The drugs produced had a street value of £4.5 million. In total, police seized more than 7,500 plants, amounting to 458 kilograms of cannabis. During the trial, evidence showed that the men often discussed the operation using the code word coffee instead of cannabis over text. They talked about chasing money and watering plants. The properties that were used suffered serious damage from heat and moisture, with electricity meters often bypassed. Today at Leeds Crown Court, the judge said that the landlords trusted them and they were badly let down. He said the average loss per property was between £20,000 and £30,000. He said different roles have been played by different people and the sentences passed are in accordance with these roles. Mirel Niatu from Leeds was sentenced to 2 years and 8 months in jail, and Marius Nedelcu from Coventry was sentenced to 2 years and 4 months. A third man, also from Leeds, Sayan Debnath, was given a suspended sentence of 1 year and 9 months with 300 hours of community work.
The sale of cannabis and other drugs in Hare Hills is a significant concern to residents there, and so the production of cannabis obviously is a key component of that wider drugs trade. So today I think the impact of this trial shows that we're not just going to target those street dealers, we're also going to look at the facilitators.
Inspector Nichols has thanked officers and the public who have helped with the investigation. He says the policing team will continue their work and will relentlessly pursue those involved with this kind of activity.
Police! Police!
Beth Parsons, BBC Look North, Leeds.
You're watching Wednesday's Look North. Still to come on tonight's programme. We meet a former soldier from Doncaster hoping to become the first triple amputee to sail solo across the Atlantic. But before that, a survivor of the Rotherham grooming scandal has joined a legal campaign to investigate those in authority who failed to tackle child sexual abuse in the town between 1997 and 2013. The woman known as Elizabeth says she was failed by people who were paid to protect her and wants justice for future generations. The crowdfunding campaign has already raised more than £100,000. Now, the team behind it say the money will be used to bring civil claims and private prosecutions against individuals who failed to act. Nicola Rees takes up the story.
I was locked in a flat for 10 weeks. Several men. I'd say I can't even put a number on it. And I was raped and abused.
Elizabeth was one of hundreds of children groomed and sexually abused in Rotherham. Years later, she's still living with the trauma of what happened to her.
I was a child, I was 14, and these people were, in the late 30s. Now as an adult and not through a child's eyes, it was very sadistic, very well calculated, very well organised. So yeah, it's left lifelong scars.
In 2014, an inquiry revealed the sheer scale of the child sex abuse scandal in Rotherham. 1,400 girls, some as young as 11, were abused and raped by men predominantly of Pakistani heritage. The faces here belong to those convicted so far. The abuse took place across a 16-year period from the late 90s, at times in plain sight of police.
I was never treated like a victim. I was a child that was left to make adult choices, and that should have never been allowed.
And your parents were reporting you missing constantly, hundreds of times?
Yeah, and nothing was done. You know, there were meetings after meetings because of how much level of risk I was at. Top senior officers within the police, senior officials in the council, they all knew. They chose to stay silent.
Back then, it was Professor Alexis Jay who led the inquiry into child sex abuse. She criticised Rotherham Council and South Yorkshire Police for failing to protect children from appalling abuse. She said that given all of the information available, nobody could say, "I didn't know." South Yorkshire Police told us there'll never be a good reason for failing to properly investigate child sexual exploitation. Whilst the abuse of young people in Rotherham will always be of profound regret, it was the beginning of an improved future. Our approach is now subject to structured governance by Force Leeds and external bodies.
They absolutely knew. There's no doubt about it. They absolutely knew, and they chose to turn a blind eye.
Elizabeth has helped to launch a new campaign dubbed They Knew. The team behind it's raising money to investigate and try to bring private prosecutions.
This campaign will make the impossible possible. I hope that we see prosecutions. I hope we see them in the courtroom. Yeah, and finally a little bit of justice.
The campaign will look at grooming cases across the country. It's being led by Maggie Oliver, a whistleblower who resigned from Greater Manchester Police over their poor handling of child sex abuse.
#They Knew is not a public inquiry, and a public inquiry has no powers to force anybody to do anything. A private prosecution, it allows us to use the large toolbox of the law to actually bring legal action against those who have knowingly failed in their duty.
And we've had apologies, we've had resignations. That's not enough for you?
Absolutely not enough. And every victim that you speak to will say they want accountability. We want the evidence to show that they have massively failed in their duty.
In a statement, Rotherham Council say the failings at that time were wholly unacceptable, and the council and partners continue to do all that we can to support the victims of these horrific crimes. We are determined, they say, to ensure that Rotherham is a safe place for our children and young people.
You'd like to think it's a nightmare, but it's reality. I'll never ever get that childhood back. One thing I can say is, if my bad experience can help others, that's what it's going to have to be like.
Those who committed the sickening crimes are slowly being brought to justice, with 39 convicted so far. But for Elizabeth, it's not enough. She wants accountability from the people who were paid to protect her. those who knew what was happening and looked the other way. Nicola Rees, BBC Look North, Rotherham.
If you have been affected by sexual abuse or violence, details of help and support is available at bbc.co.uk/action line, or you can call for free at any time to hear recorded information on 0800 077 077. Let's have a look at some of the stories coming into the newsroom now. 2 people have been arrested on suspicion of murder after a 43-year-old man was found dead in Shipley this morning. Police were called to a property on Stead Street after concerns were raised about a man's safety. A 64-year-old man and a 54-year-old woman are in custody. Officers say extensive inquiries are ongoing. The Turner Prize is coming to Bradford. The prestigious award highlights the work of British artists. This year also marks 250 years since the birth of artist Turner, who the award's named after. Exhibitions from this year's nominees will be on display at Cartwright Hall from September to February. Now, just days after getting promoted back to the Premier League, there is more good news for Leeds United after the club's long-awaited plans to revamp its grounds came a step closer. Under the proposals, supported by senior councils this afternoon, Elland Road's capacity would increase by nearly 20,000, making it one of the biggest stadiums in Britain. The plan also includes regenerating 30 acres of land around the ground. Now, if you are a snooker fan, you will know that Sheffield is the place to be right now. The Crucible's hosting the Snooker World Championships, and thousands of sports enthusiasts are flocking to the city to enjoy the tournament, including one fan who's won a competition to watch every single minute of it. Mark Ansell is live for us at the home of snooker tonight, and you don't get much closer to that than that to the action, Mark.
Oh, look at this, Amy. It's incredible, isn't it? Right next to the World Championship trophy, right next to the 2 snooker tables. The evening session is starting at 7 o'clock here, and the crowd is starting to pour in. This really is the home of snooker, and it has been since 1977 when the tournament was first staged here. However, the contract is up at 2027, so we don't know yet whether it will stay in the city. I've been chatting to the chief exec of Sheffield Theatres to ask him about that, but also about how they transform this place ready to host a major sporting tournament.
The teams that work here at Sheffield Theatres undertake this mammoth transformation in April every year. Everyone right across the organisation does a huge amount of work, from changing all our hospitality spaces right through to kind of dropping the level of the stage down in order to make sure that we're ready to be an international sporting venue rather than a major producing theatre.
Why do you think the championships should stay in Sheffield beyond 2027?
Yeah, the World Snooker Championships are like a crucial part of Sheffield life. Sheffield absolutely loves snooker. Sheffield is the home of snooker, and the Crucible is the spiritual home of snooker. It's like the FA Cup being at Wembley or the tennis being at Wimbledon. So we really, really love hosting the tournament, and we're really proud to do that.
Let me introduce you to a truly snooker loopy fan. Jenny Bancroft won a competition to watch every single minute of every frame. You've travelled down from Scotland for this. 17 days, nearly 200 hours of snooker. How's it going so far?
Oh, it's exhausting, but it's amazing. This is once in a lifetime stuff, so I'm really pleased, really, really grateful to Midnight for giving me the opportunity.
What is it about snooker you love so much?
I think it's the skill, and it's real poetry in motion when you're watching it, and these guys make it look so easy and so effortless and beautiful, and then you try it and it's the hardest thing in the world. So yeah.
You've just seen Ronnie O'Sullivan beating Ali Carter in the first round. What was that like?
It was incredible. It really was. I think everyone was just really pleased to see Ronnie back, and there was obviously a lot of question marks about that. So fantastic to see him back and playing really well. Not, his best, but excellent to see it. And I'm a big Ronnie fan, so seeing him win by that margin was amazing.
Do you think the tournament should stay in Sheffield? It's only got this year and 2 more that's definitely going to be staged here.
I definitely think it should stay at the Crucible. I think there's nothing like the atmosphere here. I've been to a couple of other live snooker venues, and while they're brilliant, there's nothing like this place. And for my money, even though it's not the biggest, I think everything about the Crucible makes this the hardest challenge in snooker, and that's what you're looking for a World Championship event.
When you're there slow down, you can see the crowd around you. I mean, I can just imagine what it must be like to be a snooker player, because it's so intimidating, isn't it? The crowd are really on top of you.
They really, really are, and I think like the steep rake of the seats really adds to that. I was saying to you earlier that it feels so much smaller when you're down here, but when you're sort of sat near the back of the arena, it looks massive. So
good stuff, Jenny. Enjoy the rest of the tournament.
Thank you
very much. And chatting to the chief exec of Sheffield Theatres earlier, he told me there have been constructive conversations about keeping the tournament here in the Steel City. And I've been chatting to loads of people here today, and I couldn't find anyone who doesn't want to see the tournament staying here in Sheffield. Back to you, Anya.
Yeah, indeed, we want to keep it. Thanks, Mark. I hope Jenny has packed a lot of snacks. It's a long time, that, isn't it? 17 days worth of snooker, gosh. Well, listen, if books are more your thing, how about this? When was the last time you put a good book down? Well, new figures from a reading charity show fewer and fewer of us are actually picking them up in the first place. According to the Reading Agency, just half of UK adults are regular readers, and those who do read are getting more and more distracted by things such as smartphones. Ollie Constable can explain.
I enjoy reading, I enjoy looking inside the mind of the author.
It's like you're watching a movie, because if you really focus on the book, it's like in your head you can imagine it happening. When I was little, I used to read a lot, so I think it's one of the best things to do as a kid.
Being able to escape to a different world and meet and understand different people and different cultures through, pages in the book, I just find it really mesmerising now.
Once upon a time, getting stuck into a good book was the best way to spend hours. But more and more of us are leaving the paperbacks. New stats show just half of adults read regularly, and that number is falling.
The reading crisis in adults and children is very real, and there is a year-on-year decline. Our work and research from 2014 shows that 1 in 6 adults in the UK face real barriers to reading. That's around 7 million people.
The charity says this reading crisis is in part because of distractions of the modern world. And the younger the reader, the less likely they are to read cover to cover. This event in Bradford's Waterstones is trying to solve 2 of those barriers to reading. Short books costing just £1 hope to rekindle people's love for a story.
It's not saying that the only good books are short books. It's giving people short books as a hook to re-engage them in reading. Hopefully, they will then go on to longer books. But if they carry on reading shorter books, that's completely fine. There's no reason they should feel bad about it. It's all reading.
With me, it took me a while to pick up a book and read it. I feel like nowadays it is quite like the written word is kind of forgotten.
I've done the thick books as well. They take longer, but it's got to be a really, really good book, to interest me.
It's difficult because there are so many distractions out there, but I think the hobby of reading, it gives you that safe space, and you might not get that instant gratification, but by the end of the accomplishment you get from finishing a book is second to none.
The Reading Agency charity hopes the next chapter is a positive one and the love for reading in any form grows. Ollie Constable, BBC Look North in Bradford.
Good book before bed, you can't beat it. Now, it is a pretty amazing thing to attempt to sail solo across the Pacific Ocean, but one man from Doncaster is not just taking on that challenge, he's also hoping to become the first triple amputee to do so. Army veteran Craig Wood set sail from Mexico last month and he's due to arrive in Japan in June. Lizzie Steele caught up with him from the middle of the Pacific.
It's a terrifying thing. It's the middle of the ocean. If I fall off, I'm dead.
This is Craig from Doncaster, and this is his epic challenge to become the first triple amputee to sail solo across the Pacific.
The weather's always changing, the waves are always changing. There's all these anxieties that do scare me, but I've just got a reasonable hold on it. It is what it is.
In 2009, while serving as a rifleman in Afghanistan, Craig lost his left arm and both legs in a roadside bomb. The early days of recovery were incredibly tough, but he was determined his injuries wouldn't hold him back.
If something like this happens to you, you've really got 2 choices. You can just sit in bitterness until it consumes you, or you can just get on with it. I can try and inspire other people to get out of that downward spiral.
Setting sail from Mexico nearly a month ago and facing waves as tall as double-decker buses, the challenges haven't just been physical.
Because of the lack of sleep, the anxiety sort of takes over a little bit. So you kind of have to reassure yourself every night, no, everything's okay. I've got radar on. I've got all my systems checked. They're all working.
Craig has been supported by 2 charities and hopes to raise £50,000 for them through his epic adventure.
If I can even just help one person out of this, then, you know, that could potentially save a life. And if the money I raise helps someone get a piece of equipment or support that they need, yeah, I hope we can achieve that goal.
For now, his focus is getting through the next few weeks with the aim of reaching Japan in June. Lizzie Steele, BBC Look North.
Oh, he's so inspiring, isn't he? And we will get Craig into the studio once he's achieved that goal. Doesn't this just put you in a good mood? The mowers are out, hedges are being cut and the daffs are almost over. It is springtime and that can only mean one thing. The Harrogate Spring Flower Show is underway. Now, if like me, you're not sure about the pansies from your petunias, well, fear not. We have sent Kathy Minton along, who also has no idea, to get some tips on how you can make your garden glorious.
Not Middle-earth, but North Yorkshire. The Harrogate Spring Flower Show has the theme of swords and sorcery, resulting in displays good enough for the Shire. The site is a hive of activity ahead of the show opening tomorrow. They're expecting up to 50,000 flower fans through the door.
It's the coming together of everybody that just enjoys gardening and enjoys horticulture and enjoys a great day out as well. There is everything you can imagine to really make your garden special, or make your window box special, or your kitchen window special. It's just something that everyone who enjoys gardening will love to come here and just absorb the atmosphere.
As well as beautiful blooms, there are inspirational show gardens, which offer their creators a chance to really show off.
The beauty of it is having the freedom to do what you want and not being dictated to by a client. But yeah, it's about showcasing what we can do. You know, obviously a lot of gardens we don't send up to this specification because of budgets and such. But yeah, to get an opportunity to flex your muscles and show what you're about is wonderful. Great platform to do it from.
Well, when it comes to gardening, I'll admit I'm a bit green. Unless it's a beer garden, I really don't know what I'm doing. So, whilst we're here, I'm going to be asking the experts for their top tips for absolute beginners.
Look around your neighbour's garden. What's growing well there? If it grows well there, it'll grow well in yours. So use that and then buy the right plant for the right place.
Is there somewhere where you can put a specimen tree that would look good all year round and would help frame the view?
Try to grow things in season, or conversely, don't try and grow things out of season so you're not disappointed.
Form follows function. Think how you're going to use a space, think how you're going to circulate through it, and the rest should fall into place.
Winging it, honestly, we've tried loads of different solutions, and winging it is the best solution we've come up. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Constantly weed. That is the best thing you can do. Get those weeds out and absolutely enjoy your garden.
So grab your gardening gloves and crack open the compost. The show will be celebrating flower power until Sunday. Kathy Minton, BBC Look North, Harrogate.
Oh, how lovely. The favourite advice for me there was wing it. That's what I do.
That's a good idea.
Shove it in and hope for the best.
Gardeners are complaining how dry it is. I mean, it's turned into a remarkable spell of weather. And you know what? You'll be happy. A taste of summer on the way early next week. Up to 23 degrees in places. Anyway, let me show you this because the bluebells are out. That's beautiful. That's Middleton in Leeds. Other woods are available. But this is really interesting because if you look very closely, this is low cloud. We call it stratus in the business. And that's ready to come in. It's already covering much of the coast of Yorkshire. That's going to spread all the way inland during the course of this evening and overnight. If you've got any pictures you'd like to send to me on X, on Instagram and on the Weather Watcher website. So tomorrow that low cloud will be across most parts in the morning, with perhaps the exception of the Pennines. It will break up. The afternoon looks dry with some sunshine. It's a similar idea on Friday, but this weather system, bit of a nuisance this, it's very weak, but it will do two things. Saturday it's going to bring a little light rain rain and drizzle, especially to the west, but it's also going to introduce warmer air. So Sunday and into next week, we draw up warm, sunny weather from the near continent, and it may even feel like an early taste of summer. Now, I've just shown you that picture in Scarborough. Can you see that cloud there? It's already pushing inland. So although many of us are bright at the moment with some sunshine, you'll see that cloud, notice that cloud maybe down the Vale of Pickering this evening, and then down the Vale of York into sort of western side of the Pennines by the end of the eastern side of the Pennines by the end of that. Temperatures 6 or 7 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow's high water times then Scarborough 2:10 in the morning, Bridlington 25 to 3 tomorrow afternoon. So apart from the Pennines, which may be stuck out, actually might be a bright start elsewhere, a lot of cloud, but the sun will act to break up that cloud. You can see the holes coming through, so some sunshine developing. Some areas might have to wait until early afternoon, but eventually it will brighten up with some sunshine. All parts dry, and again much above average temperatures. We should be 12 or 13, near as 16 tomorrow. April is turning out to be an unseasonably warm month. The further outlook then, Friday again a cloudy start, some sunshine later. Saturday, bit of drizzle gradually dying out, but look at that, Sunday into next week, it's fine and sunny. And Amy, look, 22 or 23 degrees, that's it.
Get the barbecue out.
Yes.
They might do a good deal at the Harrogate Flower Show. They sell things
Probably.
like that, don't they? Get me signed up, I'm there. Thank you, Paul. Well, that is it from us. Abijola's here with the late news at 10:30 this evening, but from all of us here, goodbye for now.